Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Doctors of Running podcast, where we, a group of doctors of physical therapy, discuss the art and science of running and the stuff that we put on our feet. Today at the roundtable, we have Dr. Matthew Klein, Dr. David Salas, and myself. I'm Nathan Brown, and we are always so thankful for Rabbit Apparel. They have been our presenting sponsor of this podcast this year. And as we started talking about last week, we are so excited that we are finally dropping our first line of Doctors of Running apparel that we're excited for people to be able to run in. And Rabbit has really been the people who have been able to make that happen. So huge thanks to them. And if you're wanting to get into any of the stuff that we're getting from them, we're having the easy short sleeve, the easy long sleeve, and then the go-to hoodie that'll have branded Doctors of Running stuff on it. If you're wanting to get that stuff, you can order through the pre-sale, which is happening from June 3rd to June 17th. And then the gear will then ship after that the week of July 6th. So we're thrilled. This is some of our favorite gear of theirs, and they're some of our favorite gear, period. So this is super exciting for us, and we hope that you all are excited too. Reach out to us with any questions, but we're excited to get it open and launched so that you can get your hands on it.
Definitely. I will say too, just personally, I've been a big fan of the easy material for years. It's something that I've worn for both running and for just relaxing and kicking back. I've got so many now at this point in different colors.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's been a staple, but I'm really excited for this collection because I think those two materials in general, the easy and the go-to material as well, the go-to crew and the go-to hoodie that we have, and the go-to hoodie will be the DOR released one.
Yeah.
But the material on the inner part of that is so nice. I find myself wearing it all the time. Now that it's going closer to the summer months, I probably won't be wearing it quite as much, but the easy material I will be. But I already, obviously we got seated our apparel for this launch, but I will actually be personally buying another set of each of these. I like it that much. So I don't take it for what it's worth, I guess, but I will be purchasing alongside y'all in the pre-sale as a member of DOR. So
I'm doing the same thing actually. So
yeah,
I'm excited. It's just a fun thing that I think if we take down kind of the fourth wall for us, hopefully you just feel that we're just as authentic as we always are. But this is the kind of stuff that felt kind of funny dreams early on. It's not even stuff that we thought about because we were really just doing our thing and enjoying doing it together as friends. And I feel like we're still doing it the exact same way that we have for the last however many, 7 years now that we've been doing this. So we're just thankful for everyone who's been on this journey with us. So, all right, we have a really fun episode today. We're going to be doing a this or that episode with a pretty specific focus where we're going to be comparing kind of the cheaper and more expensive options of different shoes from different companies, primarily looking at trail models and kind of asking that question, which one would you pick? What's the value? What's the performance? And kind of having some discussion around that. But before we do that, we got to obviously talk about what we currently have in for testing. So what have you all had on your feet and otherwise? Matt, you can go.
I'll go. I'm glad we talked right before the podcast because one of them I can't talk about, even though I am really enjoying it.
I know.
One of the other ones is the Deviate Nitro Pure has been a really, really great shoe. It seems to have balanced out. Man, the color is going crazy on this. What I've really liked about this is a couple changes that Puma made. First of all, unlike some of the other Nitro shoes, the midfoot does not narrow. That's been really nice. I will note that when I first ran that shoe, the midfoot transition felt a little clunky, which is totally normal when you have a little additional stiffness. But once it breaks in, it's totally fine. I am in not like I have this big plan, but I'm in this no super racer block where I'm just kind of working on getting back in shape and trying to just get my legs under me again. And this has been a go-to for workouts. It's been awesome. The drop is just in the right place where it doesn't feel too low, too high. Upper is snug in a good way where it's when you're running fast, it just kind of disappears. When you walk in it, you're definitely that's a little lower volume, a little bit snug up in the forefoot. But outside of that, the upper stretches like Puma stuff always does. And durability has been good. I think I've got 40, almost 50 miles on my pair and everything's intact. Nothing's gotten pulled off yet. So it's been really solid. Not a stability shoe, but just stable enough for me with just the wider midfoot that it's actually been pretty good. That's what
I've been running in that one too. I put it in the category of kind of the Evo SL, those very simple, because this is like, I think 150 in that realm, price wise. And so it's right in that category where there's nothing fancy about it, but it's really nice. It's that lightweight trainer. You can do a lot of different things in it. I'm curious how it like holds up over time. I think that's going to be the question. And I'm not doubting anything necessarily. I'm just saying that will be the question to see how does it do with lots of miles over time. But it's just very simple, very light. I think the geometry is nice. They've got a nice bevel here. I'm excited to get more miles in it.
It is one of the first trainers that they have where they actually really got the bevel decent and didn't like bias it immediately. That's been something Puma's done. I don't know why. This one's very centered, breaks in really nicely.
Yeah. And I ran in it earlier today and I can say the same things. I really liked it. There's like a beautiful like simplicity to the shoe. Like you said, it's a nice foam. It's lightweight. It's a good upper, but it's nothing like crazy. There's no major bells or whistles to it, but it runs smooth at daily paces. I did do some pickups, as low as maybe 520-ish, and it felt great.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how it's going to feel like turning over, but like going marathon pace and a little bit faster, because there's Lord knows I ain't run a marathon at 520s right now. It felt good. It felt like really good. And people who are listening to this podcast know I'm a fan of the Saucony Azura, Endorphin Azura. This feels like competition to the Azura, both at price point, different rides, but I think experience wise, like I really like both of them. So I'm going to have to get more miles in both and do a head to head there or something, because they are heavy hitters for this year.
Yeah, definitely agree.
What's another shoe company that popped into my mind when I got the shoe? It was Atreyu. I think they're
a little bit. Like
I think they're done. They might be done, right? But
I believe rest in peace.
Yeah,
but they close up shop.
Just kind of the simplicity of the shoe, and that's kind of what they were going for. Is like, let's just create the same
nicer
shoe over
foam,
and over.
Though.
Yeah, nicer foam than Atreyu.
There's a series of 5, and the listeners can feel free to correct me. Is like I feel like Pure, Rebel, Azura, Evo SL, and then we have not tested this yet, but Mach 7 kind of sits, I feel like, in a similar, like kind of like a 5
Mach 6
performance
for sure.
Yeah, Mach 6. Yeah. So I think it's a good option because they're all kind of in that 150 range, which is fairly standard now. And you get a lot of performance out of them, but there's the versatility to train, which I think is great. So, yeah.
Speaking of more, kind of on the, it's still crazy that 150 is the lower end, but
I know
even lower than that, like I'm excited for the updated Rincon coming.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be
always been a fun shoe.
It's been a while since I've tested one, so that'll be fun.
Yep. I do have something else. Hopefully I'm not going to get in trouble for this. Can I talk about this?
Yeah.
Sweet. So Topo has their Connect, which I didn't know. I mean, there's a decent number of companies that do something similar to this. So you have Vivo Barefoot, you have Zero, which you've been a fan of. I have really enjoyed this as another like kind of clinic day shoe. I have only run a little bit in it. It is a little bit heavier for what it is, but I think that comes from the sole, which is Vibram and has some really good grip on it. What I've loved it for is lifting, walking, standing all day. It's been a great shoe. Again, the all black colorway is helpful for someone treating in clinic quite a bit, but just really comfortable and really secure, which is nice. So it's really nice to finally see Topo go, hey, we're going to take our shot. I think they did a good job. It's very different from a lot of the others in this area. Doesn't have the same ground fear. There's still like for this kind of minimal shoe. Again, and I need to remember the listeners can't see this. We've got a couple emails recently going, what shoe are you talking about? So it's the Topo Connect, which is their like really minimal training, daily trainer, walking shoe. Is it considered a running shoe? Are they classifying it as that, or is that
not? I don't think it's their primary.
Yeah, but it's just a very low to the ground, minimal shoe from Topo that I'm really enjoying. Tons of flexibility, really good grip. There's just a little bit more than competitors in terms of like the amount of foam between your foot and the ground, which I think is fine. Because again, when I'm in clinic, it is a hospital. I'm standing on hard floors all day, so it is nice just to have a little bit there between your foot and the ground. So haven't got enough running miles in it yet. The one I did do, the grip is really good. And I was actually impressed I could do this as my Achilles is actually doing better, which is surprising. But yeah, really impressed so far and love the toe box and good. Can't believe it. I think this is the first kind of shoe like this they've done, correct? Am I missing something?
No, ST6.
XT6, that's right. Yeah.
I was going to ask you which one you prefer between the two.
I think at the moment I prefer this one, but the ST I think is lighter.
I like
So
the ST a lot.
Yeah, it's a good shoe. I think just the look and traction thing is winning me over right now.
The ST6 has more to it though than that shoe, like by a pretty decent amount. Like there's actually like a foam midsole in the ST6, whereas
this is getting closer. Yeah,
I prefer the.
So there's not a foam. It's just like the outsole.
It's just.
I thought you said there was foam. Okay,
no, I mean it's thicker outsole than a lot of companies, but I didn't even know that when you pulled the insole out, there's actually like. You could actually wear this without the insole. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, like there's a little bed in there, but the ST6 has like a real midsole. Yeah. I've enjoyed both of those, ST6 and the Topo Connect. I've preferred the ST6 personally for my lifting and plyos and stuff. I just like having that little bit more, but I've enjoyed the Connect for more just like daily stuff. So that's been more of my around the house, around work, walking, casual. And then the ST6, that's a preference thing. I just like having a little bit of foam underneath for comfort. So, do you have any others, Matt?
I forgot to bring it out. I am still getting miles on the Kayano 33. It is not softening at all. Gotten lots of comments on the videos. Thank you everybody for watching and giving your feedback going, it feels much better, softer. I don't know what you all are feeling. That thing is so firm to me. But I'm going to keep getting miles on it, even though it makes my knee ache every time I run in it. I'm going to keep doing it. And fit is still really nice. I will admit that. I'm getting a little bit of blisters on my forefoot from sliding, but I'm going to keep getting miles on this and see if I can find that softness, but I haven't found it yet.
Nice. I have only one other shoe that I want to talk about today. The other one is the same as Matt's that we can't talk about yet.
I know.
But I think y'all have had this shoe for a while, but it just showed up for me last week, and it's the Mizuno Neo Vista 3. So I got my first longer run in this. It was about 8.5 miles that I did in this shoe. I think this is my favorite Neo Vista yet. I think that it might not be I feel like the first one had a little bit more aggressive geometry and a little more kind of soft bounce to it. I think this one feels more controlled, but I'm appreciating that for where I'm personally at right now. And it just feels like it's always moving forward. Whereas sometimes with how much the rocker was in the early version, I felt like I got caught on the Neo Vista's rocker in a way that wasn't beneficial. I think a couple things they're doing with their geometry. I think, again, the rocker is just a little bit more chill, a little bit more gradual. But the other thing that I like that they did with the midsole is the sculpting on the medial and lateral side. So on the lateral side, you've got this kind of in-cut, or it's a little bit concave, whereas on the medial side, it's totally flat or even a little bit convex or bulbous there. That just gives it a little bit of structure to how the foam is going to get loaded, because it is still really compliant foam. It's got, a fun plate design that they put in there, but that little bit of a cutout allows for the shoe to compress a little bit more on the lateral side. It just gives that little bit of guidance. And I've just appreciated that. And I don't need like structure stability, but I like that they give a purpose to how much soft foam exists in this shoe. And it worked well for me in that run. And I'm excited to get more miles on it. It just feels like it could be a workhorse. I also think they just are really committed to this booty construction upper, which can have tons of problems if it doesn't fit you right. This feels like the best one so far for me in the for what it's worth category. I don't know how it's working for you all, but the first one, I was just getting a lot of like overlap of it, and this one fit me well, and I didn't really have to use the laces too much. So, but that's the thing. It's like when it works for one person, it's not going to work for another with the booty construction.
Yeah, I definitely will say I love everything about this shoe except for this little extra bit of padding right here. These tendon and that is making that. Everything else is great. This is making it very challenging for me personally. Should we add this to the list? This versus Rider?
Maybe we bring it up.
Maybe we do. Oh, all right.
David, what about you? You're just getting back into some running.
Yeah, I think as of today, it's 6 days in a row of running now. I've kept the miles low. I haven't done anything crazy. So if you've been following, I mean, we're talking maybe 5K worth of mileage per day, which is something, right? Like it starts to build, and I'm planning on making this grow organically, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, definitely wearing a few different shoes, getting a few different reviews out again. getting to those trail reviews finally for all of the people that have been waiting. So just finished the write-up on this, depending on release schedule for DOR, may or may not be out. But this is the Innovate Trailfly Zero version 2. This is an interesting one. I liked it. I don't know if I liked it enough to justify the price point. It's at like $175.
Okay.
And to like take it over some of the other trail models I really like. But this is meant to be an aggressive, like nimble trail running shoe for like specifically for technical terrain. Its stack is super low. It's like 12 mils and it's zero drops. So it's 12 millimeter in the heel, 12 in the forefoot. That doesn't include the footbed. The footbed I think is 6 millimeters. So it's like 18, give or take, of total stack. But it doesn't feel bad. Like, and then it's a super critical midsole, but there's not that much foam. So it still feels really firm when you're landing.
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's supposed to be pretty responsive. It doesn't feel that responsive to me, but it feels steady and it feels really sturdy. Like going over rocks and things like that, I felt very confident running in it. And when you look at the upper, there's a lot of external reinforcement just everywhere. And this thing holds its shape really well. And so I think they did a really good job with it. I just don't think for what it is, $175 is the price I would pay for it. I think if it was closer to that $150, I think that would be a really solid option.
Yeah.
But at $175, I just think the competition's a little too stiff. Yeah. But if you want something very low to the ground, you can feel everything but still be protected, because the lugs too, like being that low to the ground, I didn't feel like the rocks were pushing into my feet at all. Like I did feel protected, which is huge. So that one, just finished the write-up on that one. Another one that I'm super excited about that I can talk about is the Adidas Terrex Agravic SL. So this is going to be a evolution of the Terrex lineage, and the Agravic SL essentially is taking a baby between the Adizero Evo SL and the Adizero Agravic Speed family, where they use Lightstrike Pro for trail racing. And so the goal of this is specifically to just kind of be a super trainer, but for trails. And it's Lightstrike Pro midsole, full contact, continental outsole, variable depth on the lugs. It's 3.5 to 4 millimeters. And it's just kind of a gently rocker design, solid synthetic mesh upper. I thought it was interesting. A lot of Adidas shoes tend to have kind of low volume and narrow midfoots. This is actually surprisingly spacious. Like if I hold it up to the camera, like it's a solid shoe. This is one, I made a video about this earlier in the day too. So that video will probably be out by the time this airs. But I felt like this stacks up to me with some of my favorite trail models of the year so far. And that goes up against the Salomon Ultra Glide 4. That goes up against the North Face Alta Mesa 500 version 2. Big fan of the Agravic SL. So that will be coming shortly to our reviews. Deviate Pure Nitro, also running in that. Obviously, I just ran it this morning. Klein was holding up the Terrex Agravic Speed Ultra, I believe, or TT.
2.
What was it?
No, the Speed 2. Yeah.
Ultra. Yeah, the Speed 2 was like Ultra Speed.
Yeah, Ultra Speed, whatever. Speed Ultra.
Speed Ultra. Speed, yeah. Because I didn't get the Speed Ultra, but I got the Speed 2. And the Speed 2 was a little too aggressive for me. Like my foot and my Achilles, I was like, oh man, like I know this is a sub-ultra trail racer, but like I don't think I can do it. But a Agravic SL, like it's also pretty lightweight. I didn't mention that. It's like 9.4 ounces.
Which is very light for a trail shoe. Yeah.
Yeah, very light for a trail shoe. The Lightstrike Pro is snappy and responsive. It's protective, but it's not like mushy soft. Like it feels firmer than the Adios Pro Lightstrike Pro. So yeah, I'm actually a really big fan of the Agravic SL. So
how does stability? Because like you said, like the speed was a little wobbly. I didn't get the speed, but the Speed Ultra 2, that's got a serious case of the wobbles.
Not too bad. Actually, great. The full contact outsole is good. It looks more narrow on the camera than it is, but I feel like this is wider. It's probably closer to also what I'll be getting reviewing soon, Agravic 4.
Right.
Getting all these trail miles.
Great.
But I don't know. It's neutral. I wouldn't say it's, a stability trail model, but it doesn't feel unstable. I felt fine going over rocks and taking turns and things. I had to take a 180 on a dog, and I was able to do that. So on a downhill too, I was like descending and I was like, oh, F word. And then like dog came running. I had to flip a U and get out of there. So it was able to do that, and I didn't turn my ankle. So I don't know. Good. I'll give it some props there. So there's
it was the shoe, not your fibularis muscles helping you out.
Yeah. It's always the shoe, right?
Yep.
And then one that we haven't talked about yet, for basic review, we're going to be Topo Magnafly 6. So pretty excited about this
nice.
one. We've always liked the Magnafly. I feel like the upper is always a home run on that. It's no, they didn't stop here. It's still a really nice upper. Fits really well. I feel like it's a little more spacious in the midfoot than previous Magnaflies, which I appreciate because I feel like I remember we would hype up Magnafly 4 upper specifically.
Yep.
And that one was really nice, but the arch, I could just feel it pushing up just a little bit, in that midfoot. Not enough to call it out per se, but this one I feel like cleans that up. Obviously it's 2 versions later, but it's not really the most exciting foam. It's zip foam. It's kind of a basic EVA, 0 mil drop, moderate stack height shoe. But I think it's going to be really nice for login, some easy, and daily miles. So I'm quite excited. It's been good in the clinic so far when I've worn it in the clinic.
I wore that shoe last week and didn't realize it was 0 drop. And I was like, and my Achilles did fine, which I was like, oh, and I will say, it is zip foam, but they are slowly improving it where it's definitely not the same as older zip foams. It's not a crazy super foam. There's just enough to go, oh, this is nice. It's not a super foam, but it's still nice.
Yeah, just a nice training midsole. That's what it feels like when I'm wearing it. But yeah, that's what I got. I don't think I got anything else besides these other 20 shoes to my left.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's all for the episode at that point. So
that's great.
That's what I got. Sorry, that's a long in for testing, as always.
That's great. You're back on the roads and the trails. It's a good thing. Well, our in for testing segment is always fueled by Skratch Labs. And so if you want to check out any of their stuff for your in-run or post-run nutrition and recovery and hydration stuff, please head over to skratchlabs.com. You can use the code Doctors of Running to get 20% off your first order. Matt, you're scratching your head here. What's going on?
Dude, the cucumber lime is still killing it, and it bothers me that I like it still.
Because you used to make fun of people.
Yes, I did. And now I have to eat that. But also
or drink it.
So I also will note that Bach, I think it was Bach or BJ, dangerous combination where they suggested, or maybe it was David, sparkling water, a scoop of the watermelon, a half scoop of the watermelon, and a half scoop of the cucumber lime is, that was really good.
I can't stand sparkling water. Wasn't me.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
For me, my favorite flavor, hands down, is the mango. I don't think y'all have tried the mango, but it is so good.
I've got the guava in here.
There's a mango super fuel that I'm kind of. What's the high carb? The super fuel.
Super high carb.
Super high carb.
You were almost there.
Yeah, they have. I'm kind of curious in that one, to be honest.
Yeah,
but
it used to be called Super Fuel, but they switched it over to super high carb. I have the mango version of that. I haven't used it yet because I haven't been going long enough to warrant it yet. But their sport hydration, I have been.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's dip into the this or that for this episode. As I mentioned earlier, what we're going to do is kind of our normal this or that. It forces us to pick between 2 options and justify our choice. But what we're doing is the theme of this or that is having to pair 2 different trainers that are within the same company and talk about the one that maybe is a little bit more on the cheaper end versus the one that's their premium option. And then we have to pick which one would we choose if we were going out to buy it, and maybe the case use for each of us and why we may choose it. We don't have strict rules on this, like, oh, it's your one shoe, like you don't have a shoe rotation. We're not going to be that strict with it. We're going to let it flow different directions and just see how we talk about who it might be the pick for and who it might not be the pick for. Y'all ready?
Of course.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to start with Asics, maybe alphabetical. Maybe it just randomly is the first one that we put on our list when we were brainstorming this. And we got a couple within. Huh?
Because Adidas is before Asics.
Yeah. So it's not
if
alphabetical.
Adidas comes up at any point in the episode.
Point.
People will say that people were saying we were sponsored by Asics at one point, and I don't know.
Were they really?
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, I think like a year or two ago, and they're doing really well. And we're like, well, it's good. Be like, oh, you're being overly positive. Yeah, they're not gonna like me as much this year. So no, they don't sponsor us. And I'm not being mean. I'm just being honest. So.
I thought it was someone else, weren't they? Oh, it was always like Nike shill or something like that, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, no. For us, we were called the Asics shills for a little bit. So
That's great.
it's okay.
Well, here we are. We're going to talk about Asics. So we've got a couple within here, but the first one is looking at the new Novablast 6 or the Superblast 3. So a couple things that I think I know about these shoes. You know, you're looking at Novablast 6. You're looking at, I think, 155. I think it jumped up $5. And then you have the Superblast 3. That's in the 225 realm, right? Is that still around there? 220, 225. Yep. You're looking at different foam compounds. They're pretty different shoes from a construction standpoint. A lot more foam and stack. Well, I guess 4 millimeters. I don't know if that's considered a lot or not. You got like about 4 millimeters of stack in the Superblast, and compared to the Novablast, the weights are the same, pretty much within 0.1 ounces of each other, and they both have an 8 millimeter drop. Yeah. So, you know, we're looking at a pretty decent, you know, $50, well, $70, $65 price difference. What do y'all think on this?
I will say other major thing is like very different foam. So like FF Leap, primarily with the bottom layer of, I think. Yeah. Blast. No, the bottom layer, is Blast Plus in the bottom. Yeah. So the Leap is like one of their top foams, and one of the reasons why it kind of was difficult for me with the shoe because it was so soft. It's gotten a little bit better, but the Novablast is going to have the FF Blast Max with the puck, not puck, but like the forefoot of FF Turbo squared. Yeah. So kind of different direction there. But yeah, weights have gotten similar over the years. They used to be decent, like a decent amount up, but Superblast 3, I think, is still a teeny bit heavier than some of the older ones. If I remember correctly, is it 8.3? It's ounces, no, it's higher, 8.6.
8.7, 8.6.
Yeah. And then the Novablast is what, no, it's 8.8.
Right.
8.8.
Totally right. Oh, it came down.
That's so right. Yeah. So it dropped a lot of weight.
It was 9.0 before.
Yeah, it just really depends on what you want. I think from a like trainer perspective, the Novablast is for like being $65 less. It's not my favorite shoe on the market, and I wasn't my favorite. But I think for a lot of people, they're probably going to get more out of it for that price, just because with the FF Leap, like it's kind of the Superblast is like, you got to be running faster to really get a lot out of this, in my opinion. There's a lot of people that are doing exactly the opposite, but Novablast isn't my favorite, but
you're picking it.
Initially, let me think on this a second.
No, David, what do you think? Backsies.
I get to think. I've had a rough week.
Yeah,
sir, I get 5 options instead of their 3. Yeah, okay.
It's a tough one for me. I like the Novablast. You know, I do like it a lot. I thought it was full length turbo squared. Is it not?
No, it's just the if you look at the bottom, it's just in the forefoot, but it spans out bigger than the footprint on the bottom. Like. It spans out to basically the full forefoot.
Got it. Yeah, I like it. I think, but I did run like just about 23 miles out the box in the Superblast 3. And that did actually happen, for better or worse, on my body. But
would you do that in the Nova?
I don't think I would.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think the softer flight foam Leap actually ease. So neither of these shoes have like a massive heel bevel, and they can be a little bit choppy, but that softer flight foam Leap eased that transition at initial contact for me, and for just easy shuffling paces, especially if I'm going really long. I actually found like I got more out of the shoe in the Superblast 3 than I felt like I did in the Novablast in the runs that I have done in the Novablast so far. And when I first ran in the Novablast, I was like, oh, this is a nice trainer. I do like it. But I wasn't like itching to go run more and more. Where like in the Superblast 3, once I got into rhythm, I was like, oh shoot, like how far are we going to go today? And then it was like, I'll go to the next street. I'll go to the next street. I'll go to the next street. Guess I'm just doing a whole lap of Goleta. Like, and that's kind of what happened with the Superblast. So now it is a pretty large price difference. And I will say, like Klein said, like this will be user dependent because Flight Foam Leap is soft. You know, for better or worse, it is very soft. It is very compliant. It does have a decent bounce to it, but the Blast Plus kind of stabilizes that a little bit on the underside and kind of dampens how much you get back from the Leap, but it stabilizes it better. So I actually find the Superblast 3 to be better at rhythmic paces than I do going fast. It feels like it bottoms out a little bit for me if I try to go fast.
Yep.
But if I'm just logging big long run miles
Yep.
and daily miles, I think I actually am going to go Superblast 3. I think the $60 upgrade I think it might be warranted here, especially from a durability standpoint. I haven't put a dent in this thing yet. And I feel like if it's like my shoe and I'm just going to town on the thing, yeah, I think it does make up its value.
I will also acknowledge the durability. It seems to be I have over 100 miles on Superblast 3, and the durability seems really good. I haven't torn anything off. This, for those who can't see or listening, I mean, I am starting to wear through the outsole, but it took me 100 plus miles even to get just a little bit of abrasion. So,
which for you is
that's
lot.
A big deal.
Yeah.
So versus the Novablast, I'm starting to see a little bit of early wear. People had some concerns about durability of the previous one, which I didn't. The midsole did flatten out. So I can totally see that. I do have another comparison, but Nathan, you go first.
Yeah, I'm totally cheating already because I'm going to buy the Superblast 2 for $150. So
I
just, that's a no-brainer for me.
I'm supposed to be the one that talks about shoes I can't talk about. I'm supposed to be the one cheating on rules, and I am like well behaved.
You're being a good boy,
these guys. Yeah,
yeah. But actually, that is 100% what I would do right now. I would go out and I would buy for just within the Asics line. I would go buy the Superblast 2. It's nothing like the Superblast 3. It's got the Flight Foam Turbo Squared, so it's going to be a little bit firmer, but it's got that little bit of pop. It felt so versatile for me. I did so many long runs in that shoe, so many training miles in that shoe, and a couple workouts, and I'm not that fast. You know, for my workouts, the fastest I'm getting is like 6:30-ish per mile. So it was great for all of that stuff. So that's what I'm doing. But if I had to keep Superblast 3 on the table, I'm going Novablast. I think that the Novablast 6, I had a video, the video is out on this where I compare the 5 and the 6 to each other. There isn't anything super remarkable in my experience so far that this new construction with the Flight Foam Turbo Squared is having for me with the Novablast 6, but it feels like a Novablast, and I like the Novablast, and I can get a ton out of a Novablast. I can do a lot of easy stuff. I can do a little bit of workouts. So I'd go Novablast, especially right now. I'm not doing, like I did my long run and it was, 75 minutes and I'm running about 8.5 miles for that. So I don't need a Superblast. So I'd be going Nova all day for this one for that price difference. Matt, you got something else?
Yeah, I'm also holding up the Nimbus 28, which I honestly like better than, which I like better than both of them. And again, it's only going to be $15 now, $15 more. It's 170 than the Novablast 6. And I'm just struggling with FF Blast Max. I like the Plus a lot more. This version, and I like it felt a little bit snappier. It's way more stable than the other two. It's probably been my favorite Asics shoe that's come out this year, and I still had some complaints about it, but like fits really nice. Versatile for me. I've done workouts, long runs, easy runs. I have 100 miles. I need to do a 100-mile review, which is now probably too late because it came out a while ago. But yeah, this is actually my pick of all three by far.
Yeah.
It just works a lot better for me personally.
If you add that one to the list, what do you think?
I think I'm still going to go Super. I like the Nimbus. I actually like the Nimbus a lot, but for me, it's only like easy shuffling where I get a little bit more versatility out of the Nova. I would pick Nova over Nimbus for me personally. And then Super has the option to go a little bit faster as well. I think I'm going to go Super, Nova, Nimbus. But the funny thing is I actually like all three. So they haven't like missed on me. I know that like Klein has struggled with some of the newer Asics models. For me, I actually have liked all of them. So
right.
I didn't get the new Kayano, so I can't speak to that one. But I would probably go in that line. Superblast, Nova, Nimbus.
Sweet. All right, we're going to move to our next one then. We're going to talk in the Brooks family. And with this one, again, we're looking at these in their trainer categories. So we're going to compare the Glycerin 23 to the Glycerin Max 2. So Glycerin Max 2 is $200. The Glycerin 23 is $175, I believe. We're looking at a $25 difference here. What's your initial gut on this one, y'all?
I'm going Glycerin Max 2 by far. I was frustrated that it was a lot firmer than I was hoping for, but it is super stable. It is very well rockered and balances. It's one of those, and the durability is insane. I'm getting close to 100 miles and I can't dent this at all, even more so than the previous version, which I thought for sure I was going to tear the piece off because it's not a full outsole, full length outsole. It's not coming off. So durability crazy. Just wish it was softer. But what I do like is I didn't have to worry about sizing. Glycerin Max 1, I probably should have got a half size up. I made it work because I like the sole so much. Glycerin, I think I'm struggling with because I'm like in between sizes. So maybe I'd have a slightly different experience. But for only $25 more with the wider width, the upper is very nice. It's really, really nice. So I would go Glycerin Max too. It's also fantastic for walking.
Yeah. David, what do you think?
It's a tough one for me. I think for basic training and just kind of a nice familiar feel, I like the feel of the Glycerin. I think at 175, it feels a little steep in comparison to what else is on the market, whereas the Glycerin Max 2 feels a little bit more on par. It's also, so the thing with the Glycerin Max 2 for me personally, I agree with everything Klein said, where platform, I love the shaping, the midsole, very stable. That 4-foot rocker is hard to beat. You have like a very rhythmic step into the, like you just roll right into that next step. It's nice. It's a little heavier. You know, it's not going to be going fast at all, but it's nice. For me, the upper was actually kind of the deal breaker, and I can acknowledge it's a nice upper. It's very plush, but it was almost like too plush. Like my foot was getting really warm. I would have to run early in the morning or else not at all.
I could see that.
For me. And so that's where that deal breaker for me was. But if I'm choosing one or the other, I think I am going to go Glycerin Max 2 on this one. I think I just like the shaping. I like the platform. If I got to live with the upper between the two, I think I just get more out of the Glycerin Max 2 than I do out of the Glycerin 23. But the Glycerin 23 is a nice trainer. I actually really like it. It's not the most exciting. It's just a little bit more plush than a Brooks shoe normally would be. But I tend to like firmer shoes anyways. And however they have that DNA tune in Glycerin Max 2, it's like a firm max stack, like really well protective shoe that is really stable and rolls you like really hard into that next step. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was just the upper for me, but I'm going to go Glycerin Max 2.
Nice. I think for me, I'm going to go Glycerin 23. You've talked about a lot of things about what's worked well or maybe won't work well for people with the Glycerin Max 2. The deal breaker for me from a rhythmic standpoint and getting into it is where the rocker is. It's a little bit later stage than some other shoes. And for me, I just can't get up on it. So it feels just heavy and flat, and it's hard for me to utilize the rocker. So I think that may have to do with my like toe length. So I might have too long of toes and that puts my, metatarsals before where that's going to be. So I just can't get into rhythm in that shoe, making it feel really just flat and hard to get into any sort of rhythm. Whereas this was the first Brooks Glycerin that I've enjoyed running in. Like I've actually gotten done with my testing miles, and then I've gone back and I've pulled it out to run in. And it's just been for when I need nothing fancy and just a very simple run. I like you said, if I was comparing these shoes to other brands, I wouldn't pick the Glycerin. But when I compare these two to each other, I'd be picking the Glycerin because there's a bunch of shoes in the $150 realm. I'm even thinking about like ultra shoes and like these other trainers that I've really enjoyed that would take the cake for me over the Glycerin. But between these two, for me, it's the Glycerin, and the rockers kind of the main thing for me personally. So we're going to move to our next shoe. We're running into the Saucony family. This first one we're going to talk about, we have a couple comparisons. This might be one of the biggest differences between shoes of any of them. And we're going to ask the question, would you get the Saucony Ride 19, which is $145, or the Saucony Paramount Max, what is that running at? Is it 200 or is it 220?
I believe it's 200.
200. So
yeah, I can look it up real quick. I got you guys. Keep going.
We're looking at potentially around a $55 or more difference between these two, and the experience in running in these shoes couldn't be more different. So Matt, what are you taking on this?
So our review has it at 200.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, the Ride is the ride. It's definitely changed since previous rides were usually snappy, responsive, a little bit quicker. This one has changed. It feels like kind of what the Triumph used to be, where it was kind of like softer, not as responsive, maybe like, it's not Power Run PB, but it actually almost feels like that, almost looks like it, ironically. It is still Power Run Plus. But I think as a simple shoe that somebody just wants something really nicely cushioned, yeah, fine. But man, the Paramount Max, and I will say the new Triumph even more, like I'm really enjoying this shoe, but it is definitely going to be for someone with these specific tastes. And I think part of it for me personally is the ride 19, the ride was not exciting. It just kind of felt a little bit dead, a little bit better for walking, good entry level shoe. The Paramount Max just feels way more bouncy, way more exciting. It's kind of odd though, because I can't run in this shoe all the time. If I ran in this shoe all the time, it would just be too much for me. So I honestly, if we're going to do the like combination, like all three, I'm definitely picking the Triumph, but between these two, it's a great shoe. It's a really great example of like crazy, like bouncy foams in today's era. And I actually may make 100 miles in this. I wasn't expecting to do that, but I am enjoying it when I can tolerate it. So I'm picking this one.
I just can't swallow the $60 difference for what I do and what I enjoy doing. So I've always enjoyed the ride. I like the foam, even though the shoe has kind of morphed over the years. I think having the Power Run Plus is something that I thought was a value add for someone like me. I think the durability of that is really high. It's not as snappy as it used to be for sure, but I've enjoyed that shoe. So just because of how much cheaper it is and how much I can still get out of that shoe, I'm going there all day. I will say though, like, I think that the Paramount Max's performance for me matches the price point. I think it feels like a $200 shoe. It really gives you a lot back in the run. It feels fun. It feels way lighter because it's like 10.5-ish ounces in my size 9. It does not feel like that. It feels much lighter. Not that I want to go crank out workouts, but it feels light during easy runs. And so that's another one that I've pulled back out to get runs in, but it just, for me to have to go buy a shoe, I'm going to be buying the ride between the two every time, just because I'm going to get everything that I need out of it for my training. David, what are you thinking?
Let's say money isn't an option. Do you go Paramount Max over ride?
Yeah, if money wasn't an option, I would go Max.
Okay, so you get a genuinely better experience out of the Max.
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
or for me, I think
not
it's
enough
more
for 60. Yeah,
correct. It's more fun for sure. It's not $60 more fun.
Got it. Yeah, I'm going to be the one on the other side. I'm going on ride as well. Paramount Max, I've run them both. I'll start with the Paramount Max. I don't have my shoe with me, but that Incrediron midsole is bouncy, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys talked about it. It's very bouncy. It's very wide underfoot. Like it doesn't feel unstable. It gives me a little bit of Vomero premium vibes where it's really wide and bouncy.
Yep.
And it doesn't go that fast. Like it's just bouncy.
Yes.
And for me, it's a lot of sauce. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I feel like it's just a little much for what I want out of my training shoe, but not enough for what I want out of my like responsive shoe. And it just feels like I'm moving around a lot of shoe. So like, I don't think the Paramount Max is the shoe for me, but I think it will be the shoe for someone else. I think it's a really nice shoe. Like you said, I think it feels like a shoe that probably can compete in that $200 price point. I think from a material standpoint, it's nice. But I think the ride gives me a much more balanced ride. I feel like I can get a little bit more utility out of it. It's also cheaper. And it's also got a pretty good amount of cushioning under it. Like how Klein said, it feels kind of like it's Power Run PB, even though it's Power Run Plus. It feels a little bit more plush. Maybe it's not as responsive as some of the previous rides, at least the way it feels to me. But I think if I'm picking one or the other, I'm probably going to go faster in this version of the ride than I will in the Paramount Max anyways.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm going to go Saucony ride. And it's like, what, 145, 150?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Saucony ride on this one. But I can appreciate the Paramount Max. I can.
So David, for you, I think our next one was going to be Triumph 24 versus the Paramount Max. Matt, you had already said your choice, but David, what would you do? Would you do Triumph? That's 170. You know, very also a different ride, just super soft. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I'm going to go Triumph all the way. Easy money. I think with that one, and at 170, I actually think that is very valid of a price for what that shoe is. I know it didn't agree with you, but it's I didn't give it agrees with the runner. It is phenomenal. Yeah. I got it right here. It's kind of a dark horse. I don't think it's going to win an award from me at the end of the year, but I think it's going to be in the running for an honorable mention, most likely.
Which, that's like you get 20 honorable mentions.
I get 20 honorable mentions, so I don't know. Take it for what that sounds. Yeah. But I really like it. It's an ATP-based midsole. It's Incredible Luxe, not Incredible Run. It's meant to be soft. It's meant to be cushy. But it brought the weight of the Triumph down drastically. It's like sub 9 ounces, right?
I think it's the lightest premium trainer, I think.
Yeah, like it's so light and the rocker's dialed in well. The ride, like it's so soft on your foot, but like when you're running, so standing and walking, it feels like it might be a little too soft. But when you run, you compress that foam a lot quicker, and I feel like you can use the geometry a lot better. And that's where that shoe comes alive. And I actually really like running easy in it, even though it's really soft. Well, it's meant to be easy. But I can actually pick up the pace a little bit too. I actually did take it to the track and it did okay. When it's that light, even if it's not so responsive off the forefoot, you can still turn it over. And it's responsive enough to go do something with it. And so at 170, I think the Saucony Triumph is quite triumphant. So I said this in the review and I said this in one of the podcasts earlier. I think this is the best version of the Triumph they've ever made.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting too, because it's like, it so clearly delineates the ride from the Triumph, where I felt like the line used to be kind of muddy, but now it's like very clearly a different shoe. And from a utility standpoint, it's quite good. I just don't think I like it enough over some of the other shoes out there, when we start getting to the end of the year and stuff, or even just now at half point, but it's in the conversation, where it's like, when I start thinking of like, oh, what are my favorite shoes this year? It does end up making the list.
I would definitely agree from I know you two have found it really soft. I actually found this midsole pretty responsive. Walking, it's really soft, but I feel like the ride and the Triumph have now switched places again, where now the ride's kind of like the more relaxed, easy shoe, and the Triumph is the, hey, if you want to pick up the pace, you can, because it's light enough and it's got the kind of foam that maybe it's not the fastest shoe on the market, but it's definitely the fastest of the premium trainers for sure.
Yeah, for me, if it was pitching the Triumph against the Paramount Max, this is because of my specific interaction with the shoe and how it aggravated my foot and my kind of chronic issues with my MTP. I'm going to spend the extra $30 and get the Paramount Max because I can run in that shoe. Because just with how soft the foam is, it allows my foot to sink into the midsole, and it also has flex in the forefoot. So I'm getting a little bit of extension just from loading it, and then more extension from going through toe off. So. But I that's a personal experience and personal injury history that's making me go that way.
The Triumph is also very neutral, right? So
if
there are stability concerns, I don't blame anybody for going Paramount Max over the Triumph.
Yeah. I feel like Paramount Max walking feels unstable. Paramount Max running feels fine.
For me, it's weirdly, and I think it's because it didn't agree with Andrea, but for me, it pushes me so lateral that that works way better than I would expect.
Yeah. All right. I said that might be the biggest difference. I think our next one is actually the biggest difference between two shoes. And this is in the Hoka camp. And we can add more layers as we go. But the first one that we're starting with is looking at the Clifton 10 or the new Skyward X. It's the X2 now. So looking at the Skyward X2, which is what, $225? It's got a plate. It's meant for these kind of easy rolling miles. And then you got the Clifton 10, their critical midsole, critical EVA. What do y'all think? $150 usually, I think, for a Clifton.
Yeah, I thought it was compressed molded, but it could be.
That's it. Yes, thank you.
I'm picking Skyward X only for a couple reasons. One, durability on Clifton is not good. I mean, and I actually had pain initially running in this shoe. That broke in. I think it took a little bit for me to break the shoe in, but the outsole I'm just ripping through pretty quick. Whereas Skyward X, just smooth ride, goes along really. It's not a fast shoe, but it just rolls so much as it should, and the durability is better. My only complaint though is I think the Clifton upper is better, just because I am getting that massive taper right here. So the Skyward X is edging it out just a little bit, just because of the ride. It turns over like this is a long run shoe. It is so nice on long runs.
I might have to take a pass on this one. Mainly, so I ran in Skyward X1 a fair amount. I got my Skyward X2s as I was getting ready for Boston. I didn't run in it. We had the saga of stuff after Boston with my foot. So I haven't actually run in it. I've walked in it. I've worn it to the clinic. I've had general use in it, but I haven't actually run in it. With that said, I actually do like the Clifton 10 a lot. There's a reason why I still have it. We got this a long time ago back when it launched.
Yeah.
And I've always liked the Cliftons. And I like that it's like a slightly higher drop now too. That favored me with the rocker. So my hunch is that I probably would be leaning Clifton. However, the foam is quite nice in the Skyward X2, but I can't speak on the ride of running in it. So I'm going to take a pass on this one.
Great. As am I. So Matt, you're the only full opinion. I haven't gotten the Skyward X2, so I can't, I can't speak to that.
I'm curious, the next Clifton upper might help sway me though. So we'll have to see what happens. So,
all right. Our next one here is going into Puma land. Big cats. We're looking at a comparison between the Velocity Nitro 4 and the Magmax Nitro 2. So Matt, what are your thoughts on this one?
You know, I really like the updates to the Magmax 2. For me, it felt like they got rid of the excessive posterior flare. The heel transition's better. It is definitely these are not stability shoes. It's definitely the more stable option. The upper is really comfortable, but the Velocity Nitro 4 is a great shoe. It didn't fully agree with me because it's not stable enough, but it's an ATPU foam. It's really responsive underfoot. It's really nice. If you're like a do-it-all trainer, this is really good. Like I said, I like the Magmax, and even though the Velocity Nitro 4 doesn't work as well for me, if I had more neutral mechanics, this is a fantastic do-it-all shoe. So I got to give a little bit of the nod to this because it's also 8.1 ounces, less than that. It's light too for like a standard trainer. So very, very, very nice in that regard. David, did I miss something?
No. I was just going to ask you and put you on the hot seat here. Yeah. Velocity Nitro 4, Deviate Pure Nitro.
Yeah, it's going to do the same thing.
I would pick the Deviate Pure.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I would too.
Yeah.
It's 8.6 ounces for the Nitro 4.
And Magmax is 9.
Velocity Nitro 4. Magmax is right around, and I gotta look that up too. But for me, I'm going, this is my one where I would pay the extra. So I really have been liking the Magmax 2. Rockers really dialed in. The foam hits that sweet spot where it's got some cushion, but it's not mushy. And it's also not a brick. It's really nice. So I can do a lot in that shoe. It feels stable underfoot. It's really nice, again, for my foot that I like the little bit stiffer rocker just because of how much foam is living underneath there. It hits a lot of good notes for me. I definitely can get long runs in it. I can do easy stuff. I'm not going to be doing workouts necessarily, but I could pick up the pace just slightly because it's a little bit firmer. So it could come with me a little bit on the journey. So that one I'm going to be pulling the little extra cash out for that one. David, do you have thoughts?
I didn't get either, so
no ideas.
In the past, I've liked the Deviates though. Deviate 2 is lit. Or not Deviate, sorry, Velocity Nitro 2 is lit. But I haven't had. 3 was good too. Actually, I did have 3. 3 was very good, but I didn't have 4.
Yeah, the Magmax is coming in just under 10 ounces, 9.7 ounces.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great shoe.
Yeah, it's a good one. All right, let's finish with an On conversation. So this will be our last one. So we're looking at the On Cloudmonster 3 versus the On Cloudmonster Hyper 3.
3 Hyper.
3 Hyper, sorry. These... Is it the 2? It's the 3, isn't it? Am I crazy?
3.
Okay. These two, for having the same name, I don't think could run any different from each other.
I agree. These actually might be the most different of anything we've talked about.
It's Clifton and Skyward X2. I guess I haven't ran the Skyward X2, but that thing's like those are so different.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do y'all think on this?
I think Klein and I are probably both gonna say the same thing.
Yeah. David, you go first.
Just go buy the Hyper. It's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. It's really good.
Like train of the year good.
Yeah, this is potentially gonna be on a list later this year. But if I'm gonna say the differences, the Cloudmonster 3 is gonna be more your traditional like dual layer cloud tech, firmer ride, kind of that structured EVA. It's more stable on foot. But it's a little heavier. It's not as responsive. This is just really just steady rocket ride. I know that stability can be dynamic, and Klein feels this is probably more stable. It still feels more neutral to me, but it feels like it's stabilized compared to what it is. So like you have the Hyper, the Helon HF foam, that's their super foam on the top layer here. Then you have this encasing of Cloud Tech that kind of runs around it. That's what that pastel yellow is. And that firms up the ride just a little bit and gives it a little bit of stability and kind of keeps you centered while you're running. And it's a really cool feeling because you have this softer and bouncy kind of Helon HF, but then you have this firming up underneath you that just kind of gives you some guidance and stability. And it's also lighter than the Cloudmonster 3. So
by a massive amount.
Yeah, it kind of just wins on all fronts. It's like, and it's a really nice upper. It's a little bit more lightweight. It's very spacious. Like the volume's high, but you can lock it down well. They did a really good job with the Cloudmonster 3 Hyper. They didn't do a bad job with the Cloudmonster 3. I think if you were like buying a shoe to stand and walk and run and kind of just do like all of your daily things in the same shoe, the Cloudmonster 3 it probably would take the nod there for me. But if we're just talking running and training and using the shoe, I would pay the extra to get the Hyper. Yeah, I would.
I would too, which is like the antithesis of most of my responses today. But of all the shoes, when you look at comparative models within a line, that is just so much better from an experience standpoint, performance, construction, durability, like everything is going to win out with that shoe. It is so good. And for me, it's sitting upstairs. It never comes down into the basement. Like it always has a spot ready. Cause some days I'm just like, I want something I can trust and that I'm just going to know I'm going to enjoy. And that's the shoe that I'm going to go in. So, it's probably the only $220 trainer that I would, potentially actually go buy. It's that good. Like
Megablast didn't agree with you, huh?
Well, I enjoyed the Megablast. It's just a little, I really like it. Like if I was going to go get a race, if I'm in shape to do like distance racing, that would be probably my first shoe I would get to like do my next half or full. But I wouldn't want it for like training stuff.
But it is a trainer.
Yes. But for me, with the wobbliness of it right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It's a great shoe. The Cloudmonster Hyper, 3 Hyper, whatever. I never get that order correct. Matt, what do you think?
I 100%. I think On was a bit more intentional this year about what they were shooting for, whereas the On Cloudmonster 2 was definitely responsive and carried that from version 1. And then the On Cloudmonster Hyper original was just like, I know David loved it. I think Nathan, you liked it. I just didn't find it responsive at all. So I would have much rather.
Well, it wasn't fast.
No, I would have much rather.
Nice, easy shuffle.
Would have much rather just chosen the inline Cloudmonster. And then they really differentiated this where the Cloudmonster 3 is definitely your like walking, standing, shuffling shoe. And then the On Cloudmonster 3 Hyper is your hyper performance shoe. Like I'm really enjoying it. The only reason I haven't run nearly as much in it is because I have the light spray version, which I got 150 miles on. That's like, it's been fantastic. So from just a, like, if you want a running performance trainer, the Hyper is just it's non-negotiable. That's it.
It's so good.
So pick that one, obviously.
But I think what we really want to know, Matt, for you is if we add in the Cloud Surfer Max, That probably wins for you then, right?
No, it does. No, it does not.
What if we added the Cloud Boom Max?
That just still makes me sad. I look at it all the time and I'm like, should I try it again? Will it be different this time? And every time it's like, nope, that's going to work for somebody out there, not for me.
So good.
No.
Well, we're excited to hear what you all think, what you would choose, or if there's shoes that didn't get put into the conversation, what would you be picking? If you have other things that you'd like us to talk about on the podcast, we're always open for suggestions. You can reach out to us at doctorsofrunning@gmail.com. Again, we are super excited to drop our collab apparel with Rabbit. So please keep checking our website, keep checking Rabbit. It's going to be available for sale on their website during that pre-sale period. Thanks all for joining us. We'll see you next time.